So I have generated millions and millions of dollars for my clients using email. And in this video, I'm going to be revealing for the first time ever the exact 6-day sequence that I send out that you can just copy and paste and plug it into your business so that you can generate hundreds of thousands of dollars. Recently, I used the exact same sequences to sell more than $500,000 in sales across 3 campaigns. The first one was for MediaPlace, where we did $92,000 selling software to an existing audience. Then we did 2 campaigns for Create Studio. The first one was a Black Friday sale where we went back to an existing audience, we repackaged a bunch of stuff, and we sold $100,000 to an existing list. And then the third was we ran a webinar and I generated $100,000 from stage. I hosted the webinar, presented it. It's existing on YouTube. Go check it out. And then $236,000 was scooped up by this email sequence that went out across 6 days after that. And so the type of audience that this works for pulls from the $100 million fast cash playbook, where we have an existing list. Now, you don't need hundreds of thousands of people on your list. This was a list of 4,000 people, and this was a list of about 70,000 people. But they know who we are. They like and trust us already. Many of them are already customers. So if you have an existing list, this is going to work for you. If you are trying to use this on a cold audience, it's going to fail miserably. And the core idea of the sequence is that it works because it walks people through a natural decision arc, and each email just does one thing really, really well. So let's dive into the first email here, which is the direct launch email. So day one is really simple, and the main goal is to just completely remove any confusion and just tell people what the thing is and explain the benefits and the features and get them to take a call, make a decision and give them a call to action. So people cannot buy what they understand. And so what I think a lot of people do is that they try and be way too fancy in the launch email. And so I like to talk about what the offer is, who it's for, who it's not for, what they get, how it works, what problem it solves, the price, the deadline of the offer, and give them a simple call to action. And so we address the offer. Is it going to work for them, and how does it work? If nobody, oftentimes you will get the most opens and you'll get a ton of purchases on this first email. And so don't overcomplicate it. Don't try and be too fancy. Just tell them what the thing is, why they should care, give them a call to action, and give them a deadline, right? So really not fancy stuff. And you can see here, this is one of the emails that I launched the MediaPlace offer for the Avatar Studio. Now, day 2 is a little bit different, and sometimes I will use the, you can see here, I use a subject line, reply to your questions. And one of my biggest pet peeves is putting a whole bunch of emojis in the subject line. So you can, before you can get the email read and clicked, you need to first get it delivered and opened. And so don't put spammy keywords inside the subject line. Don't overload them with a whole bunch of emojis. Try to create some kind of open loop. And so when they see the RE, your questions, it immediately opens a loop. It looks like a real email from a friend, and it looks like a reply that they've sent out and they've got a reply to, which is really, really powerful. Now, this is like, the goal here is to get all the people who missed day 1 to open this email and read through a whole bunch of the recap and also answer some common objections that, because they are common objections, most people have them, or they at least have them in the back of their mind. And so some people who have opened the previous email will read through this and they'll go, that's my objection, that's why I didn't buy yesterday, and now I can buy because they've given me the reason. And I will also test at different times of the day. So whereas this I might send at the stock standard 10 a.m., right? This one I might send the next day at, let's say, 2 or 3 p.m., which is also going to get high open rates. And so people who just are never going to open this email because it gets buried by all the other promos may open this. And so the breakdown is like, yes, yesterday we launched this new thing. Here are a bunch of common questions, and here is the answer to them in simple language. Relink the offer, restack it, call to action. So you can see here, yesterday we launched this. Check out all the details here. I leave the call to action at the top here, which is for the people who missed it completely, right? I explain what it does in 3 steps, and then just to clarify, we've gotten some questions. So here is the deal. You get this, this, this. The way that it works is this. Here are the common questions that we got yesterday, right? Around like, is this for me? How much time does it take? What experience do I need? What happens after I buy? Is there a guarantee? I restack the value, and then I talk about the upsell. So I kind of like transparently talk about how you can, what happens after the main front end, because if you don't have a bunch of upsells, what are you doing? You're leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table, sometimes quite literally. Like you can see here, with the front end, we generated $42,000, but with the upsell, we generated more than the front end. And then with the downsell, we scooped up another $3,500. And so if we, and that all added up to the bottom line. Now, if we completely missed that and we just focus on the front end, we would have missed 46, like more than 100% of the front end. And so here I explain the upsell and then a guarantee that removes all of the risk. Now, that's kind of like the unsexy, just get it out the way, explain it simply stuff. This is kind of where you can get a bit more creative with it. And day 3, I know that I'm going to get significantly less opens, and so I can use it to take a few more risks. And so one time, the highest open rate that I have ever gotten, so you can see here, I sent this on behalf of Josh at Create Studio. The highest open rate I ever got was by changing the sender name to something that was scroll stopping, right? And so it caused a lot of people to get upset, but it was by far the highest open rate, and it caused us to make so much money. It was disgusting. Like, it was this gigantic spike in revenue because more people opened. We got some people who were upset, and the client wasn't super happy about it because, you know, they made a lot of money, but at the cost of making some people upset. I think it's a fantastic tool to use. So you can experiment with like day 3, 4, and 5 with some contrarian or some unique or creative things that you can do. And so I'll show you what that looks like. Now, on day 3, I like to ROI anchor things a bit logically, right? So buyers justify decisions with logic, but they make them on emotion. So in this, I got a whole bunch of emails back saying, I really wanted the All Access Pass for the lifetime amount. You can see that it was a slightly high ticket, $497 amount, but can you split the payments? That's why for, you know, the next few hours, we've split this into 2 payments. And then just imagine if all this deal did was get you a few hundred more followers, land 1 client, or start that side hustle you've been dreaming of. Wouldn't that be worth the tiny $248 payment today? And so I try to justify, I anchor the value really high, and then I quantify the price really low, and then I'll be like, even if that wasn't achievable, what if this was the bare minimum that you could achieve? Wouldn't that be worth it? It's still significantly higher value than what you're paying. And if this looks familiar, it is, because it's simply one of the most powerful closes in the Perfect Webinar Formula by Russell Brunson, where he talks about the one thing, 3 secrets, where you break and rebuild beliefs, and then he goes and closes you 16 times. And so it's if you only got, or basically like the worst case here, if all this did was allow you to just make 1 extra sale, wouldn't that be worth it? If all this did was just help you save 2 hours a week, and we're saying it's going to save you 20, but if it just saves you 2 hours a week, like it did for James, Sally, and Sarah, wouldn't that be worth it? Of course it would, right? And so that works really well when you justify the ROI. And then sometimes I like to justify the price against the competition. So what worked really well here is that the subject line was, new image for first name. And then you can see here I start with an image that opens a loop. Holy moly, Jordan, I just calculated something that made me spit out my coffee. And then this was a GIF, actually, of Jimmy Fallon going, "Puh," and spitting out the coffee. Guess what the average creator like you is invoiced for the software they need to run their business? Adobe, Vimeo, Submagic, Pylon, Canva, Envato, blah, blah, blah. $5,000 per year. And then I talk about the value associated with that amount of money that you're currently spending on this stuff. So a used car, a family vacation in Disneyland, 6 months of grocery bills just to make some videos. But that's why we did something completely insane. So for the next 48 hours only, every single piece of software and training we've ever created to help you grow your business is available for a one-time payment. Less than what most people spend at Starbucks in a month. And so, again, I add and stack all the value. I justify it against, like, all this other stuff that you would normally need costs the same as a new car. But we've bundled everything together for you for less than what people spend at Starbucks in a month. And then I introduce the product, I stack it all, and then I give the total value, but you can get it for just one payment of $199. And there's zero recurring fees, blah, blah, blah. But it ends in 2 days, and then I sort of hint at some of the scarcity. So instead of spending $4,788 in recurring fees, you can do it for just one payment of $199. And so you justify and you create all of this logic that people go through in their minds, and they go, yeah, that does actually make sense. I do pay Adobe, and I do hate it goes out every single month, and I do think I'm getting ripped off, and I wish that I could just pay it once and be set and forget it, right? So you tap into this logic. And then also just a quick pro tip. What a lot of people do is that they skip this whole thing and they just go straight to the end. So what I try to like to do is in 2 or 3 sentences, what is the whole email about? TLDR it for me and give a call to action, right? So people skim and then they might scroll all the way to the bottom. And if I can give a PS statement, which is the second highest read piece of content in the whole email, then you're going to get more click-throughs and higher revenue. So moving on to day 4, I like to experiment with some interesting stuff like a contrarian take, or I build a wall of social proof. And if you have the bollocks to send 2 emails a day, you can do the same. You can send both of these emails on day 4, which I would suggest. So 2 emails per day, ideally, is what you want to be sending, and 3 on the very last day. But very conservatively, I just send 1 email per day, and on the last day, I blast them with 2. So at this point, they understand the offer. Now, they just need proof it works for people like them, and the goal is to transfer belief from others to the reader. So I say stuff like, all right, the last few days I've told you about the best deal in our history, and then I introduce here. But of course, I'm going to say that because I'm the co-founder. So I wanted to give you some snapshots of genuine, real people who ordered the pass already, who already purchased the product, and they absolutely love it. And then I just take screenshots. So taking dirty looking kind of screenshots and making them seem really real, because these obviously are real, but if you fancy them up, they lose believability. So then I give it a easy, snapshotable, skimmable red box, so people can just go, the product is amazing, magnificent, keep getting bonuses, loads of software, la la la, greatest company ever, no brainer, best investment I have ever made. You see what I mean? I could sit here all day and tell you how having 10,000 extra assets, la la la, la la la, and all these different things. But like, when you go and you check out what other people have done, the other people's experiences, you'll have the same experiences. Like hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of reviews. And all it costs is 1 payment of $497. It's the most popular deal in our history. Risk-free. There's only 47 spaces left. You can never get this again. Like, get it now or it's going to be gone forever. So I start layering in some of the scarcity and urgency. My advice, if you don't have this deal, grab it now. So many people ask for it to come back. Now's your chance. Don't delay. So I literally just go and encourage people to leave comments like this and then screenshot it. And it's so much more powerful than me saying it, because of course I'm going to say that. And so the idea is to transfer belief and borrow certainty from others. And then, now this is one of my favorite emails to send. And I have had people email me back and say, this is such an honest and refreshing take. I purchased because of this email. Like, when people do that, you know that it's really it's a powerful email, and it's a fantastic thing that you should absolutely test. So this is the contrarian take. So instead of selling them, I give them 3 main reasons not to upgrade. Okay, so I'm like, if you've been reading my emails, you've been seeing me talk about a lot about the past. Why? Because it's the most popular in history and by far the most professional level of access. But let me be clear, this is not for everybody, right? And here's the 3 main reasons that you should not buy it. And so obviously these are all framed around, if you are not an action taker, if you are not the type of person who wants to make money, if you are not the professional go-getter, businessman, entrepreneur, if you're just a lazy sack of garbage and you are not all of these positive qualities, then this is not for you. And so obviously people want to gravitate towards all of those positive qualities. And so if you exclude them, in their minds they're thinking, well, I don't want to be a loser, I don't want to be unprofessional, I don't want to be all of those terrible things. So then I guess I am the type of person who purchases this. And then they self-qualify. And so it's a really powerful way of getting into their mind and psychologically sort of giving them the reverse psychology, I guess. So the 3 main reasons are you don't need to create videos fast, right? So if you're just messing around, speed isn't important, this is not for you. Because this is for busy people who don't have time spending all day watching YouTube tutorials, blah, blah, blah. You don't make money from videos and you don't want to. You're not freelancing, you're not selling anything, you're not building a business. You've never dreamed of working from anywhere or earning extra income online. If that's you, the All Access Pass probably isn't a fit, right? So if you are not in that category, if you don't love money, if you don't love freedom and time, and you've never dreamed of working for yourself, then this is not for you. You don't use templates, characters, or assets. And so some people just use this product as this, but the magic is in all of this other sexy stuff here. So if none of those, and then I say, but the good news is if none of those apply to you, then this is for you. You'll get access to this and this and this, like all this other stuff, and then I give them a simple call to action. So I don't stack all the value again. The main thing that I'm talking about here is this contrarian take. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. And then this is one that gets a huge amount of open rates. And so this bad news email happens to be one of the highest opened emails that you can possibly send. Now, so the subject line is just literally, well, you can see it here. Bad news, first name. So what you will find, I saw a tweet where somebody was saying the highest open rate email they've ever sent was bad news, ... And somebody sent an email back saying, I was waiting for the medical reports of my cancer biopsy, and I saw this and my heart stopped. And I opened it and I realized it was a marketing email. So just want to let you know that there are people out there who struggle with blah, blah, blah. So use this cautiously because it's so powerful. It triggers something in people that they cannot but open the email. Okay, so you have been warned. Use it wisely. Use it for good, not evil. This is something, by the way, that I took from a chap called Justin Goff, who is this gentleman here, who, if you're not on his email list, you definitely should be, because he has some of the best copywriting emails in the game. And one of his highest open rates is this bad news email. And he writes slightly different than I do, and this was a different audience, so it was a bit different. But I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but today I have to be. In just 48 hours, your chance to secure the offer is gone. This feature has been the best, and for good reason. This upgrade basically, and then I talk about all the benefits, and then all of the things it means, and then I go, but look, the good news is that you still have 48 hours to get this deal. And then I layer on all of the risk removal elements, refunds, support. The downside is minimized, so you really can't lose very much. The upside is maximized. And so I try to give them a bit of a come to Jesus moment, right? Where it's a bit like look, we've got good news, we've got bad news, all right? I'm talking to you directly like another human being as your friend. The bad news is this is about to disappear. The good news is it's still available. So look, if this interests you at all, I highly suggest that you take action now. I'm not asking you to say yes. I'm just asking you to say maybe. Right? And so all the people that are stuck in this maybe frame, we go, look, what's the worst that can happen here? Like just push you over the edge. And so I do it gently here, and then I pummel it on in the next day because that's when most people purchase. And so the last emails that go out are to convert the procrastinators. You will get almost all your purchases from these two emails. And so I switch back to really simple language, really simple ideas, stacking the offer, pummeling them with urgency and scarcity, and making sure that they understand that this is about to disappear forever and they'll never have it again. 24 hours till this disappears. This is it. Final 24 hours. Check if it's still available here. I often find if I put this text, people will click it just literally to see if it's still available. Like, it's crazy. If you write in that same URL, same call to action field, you go, check out the offer and secure my deal now, you'll get less clicks than check to see if this deal is still available. Because who doesn't, like, it just creates this itch in the back of your mind that you're like, I need to see, right? Just imagine, with one photo and a few clicks, you can create blah, blah, blah. And then if you are this niche, this is how it benefits you. If you are this niche, this is how it benefits you. If you are this niche, etc., etc. But deadline. And so here's what you get when you upgrade. Skimmable text, guarantee, final call to action. And then what I like to do here is the final stretch, 4 hours, super amount of urgency and scarcity, just 4 hours left. This is it. Timer is going to hit 0. Offer summary, features and benefits restacked, guarantee restated. And then I try to give them that come to Jesus moment where it's like, listen, you've got absolutely nothing to be afraid of. We will give you your money back if you don't love it. If you're not and the best part, it's 100% risk-free, because if you don't absolutely love it, if it doesn't save you time, if it doesn't make your content easier, if it doesn't feel like magic, and so I'm like, if it doesn't do all of these incredible things that we say it does, then just get your money back. Try it, use it, push it to its limits. If it's not everything you hope for, just email us back. We'll refund you, no hard feelings. That's how confident we are. That's once you start it, once you see what it can do, you'll never want to create content in any way. But here's the thing. This is my last email to you. This disappears forever. So you can see the type of language I'm using. You either wake up tomorrow ready to create studio quality videos in minutes, or wish you'd acted while you still could. So click the link below. For goodness sake, just take some action. That's what I'm trying to communicate to them. There's no risk. Why are you not taking action? Like I want to shake them and go, come on, man, what are you doing? Click this link. Just check it out from the inside, right? This is the final email. That's it. Gone. Game over. So again, super amount of urgency and scarcity. 4 hours left. This is like one of the only times I use emojis. which I hate usually in subject lines. And so the key takeaways from this sequence is that each email should just be communicating one idea. You should teach before you sell, and the angle matters more than the words specifically. Honesty beats hype, and sometimes when you are self-deprecating, people believe you more. So that's why the contrarian email works really well. And urgency only works after they believe it'll work for them and that it does what you are saying it does, with social proof and all the other proof that you can back up. So if your emails do not move belief forwards, they are just noise. This sequence works because it follows how people actually decide to buy and not how marketers wish people would buy. And so each day has a single psychological job, and by stacking, first of all, clarity, belief, proof, and urgency in the right order, you remove all confusion early and force a clean decision at the end. And what you will see is a spike in the first day when you open of sales. It'll trickle down. And if you use the contrarian or the bad news email well, you'll see another little spike. And then on the last day, you'll see most sales, right? Because people leave everything to the last second. That's just what we do. So day one, again, as a reminder, creates absolute clarity, so no one is confused about what the offer is and why it exists. Day 2 and 3 build comfort, and they justify by answering objections, anchoring the price, making it obvious, and showing why it's a logical decision. Day 4, now you start like twisting some of the emotion that can be involved here, that they will use to back up this logic. They will use the logic to back up the emotion. So you increase trust by disarming skepticism and filtering out the wrong buyers instead of trying to convince everybody. So if you're trying to sell to everybody, you sell to nobody. And even if you sell to just a small segment of the market and you make that segment of the market desirable to be in, people will put them into that category to become that type of person, if that makes sense. And then day 5, we transfer belief through social proof, and we start layering on some urgency once people have had enough information to decide. And then the final day is a bit of like a come to Jesus moment, and where it's just like, there's nothing to lose. Like, what are you worried about? Just don't say yes. Don't say no. Just say maybe. That's all I'm asking here. Like, just come in, test it out, try it for yourself, see it from the inside. You know, take it for a test drive. That's the same reason you get in a car and you take it for a test drive. You wouldn't purchase it while trying it, right? That's the same thing I'm asking you to do here. You are completely risk-free, covered by our guarantee. So come in, check it out from the inside and give it a go. What have you got to lose? Because if you don't make this decision now, my friend, you're going to miss out. That's the vibe. And so that is the 6-day sequence that you can go through to generate hundreds of thousands of dollars and maybe even millions if you have a slightly larger list. Again, remember, this is from a 4,000 person list. This is from a 70,000 person list. And so you can generate hundreds of thousands of dollars just following this. If you want me to do all of this for you, you can go to dopamine-digital.io, click this button, fill out the quick form where you answer questions about your business. I will come in and audit everything and put together a plan for you. And we don't get on a sales call until you are absolutely sure that you want to work with me. And I'm sure that I want to work with you and I can actually help you. And so if you want me to generate these types of results for you, go to dopamine-digital.io, leave a link down below, fill out the form for yourself and see the magic. I can't promise anything, but if it's a fit, I'll put together a plan and I'll show you what that looks like. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.